What is up, John Alert Nation? This is your host, Killer. Whatever. Hello, anda aqui. Falar com o cão. Anda aqui. O que é que foi? Alguma coisa aconteceu lá fora? Anda aqui. Anda aqui. Anda aqui. Isso, muito bem. Isso. Muito bem. Deixa eu ver. Muitas boas noites. Espero que esteja tudo bem convosco. Comigo está tudo bem, acho eu. Estou vivo, I guess. Vou jogar um bocadinho daquele jogo. I don't know. Whatever. I don't even know. O que é que este está a dizer?
Clever thieves hatched a genius idea on how to steal an ATM machine using a forklift. This isn't the first of its kind, and it certainly won't be the last. In fact, it's a pretty popular genre of content online, with surveillance cameras capturing goofy
Content
ATM
online?
heists. And it's always a whole team of clowns that show up to the party, and somehow none of them had any neuron activation to plan beforehand, because it almost never goes right. It seems like ATM robberies are done exclusively by people that can't tie their own shoes, but then also somehow have access to the wackiest vehicles ever. Like, last night it was a forklift. There was one a couple years ago where they came up with a fucking excavator, actual heavy machinery, an excavator they used to carve the ATM out of a building, pick it up in its bucket and dump into a goddamn van. Like, I don't even know where they're getting it from. It's like they're playing GTA Online in real life. But yeah, it's always just so interesting.
Oh, man.
So I want to show you a few of them. We'll start with last night's
That's pretty funny.
forklift heist. This happened in Sacramento, and it's like something out of a SpongeBob episode with every villain is lemons here. So there's only a couple of chess pieces on the board here. We have the white pickup truck on the top and the forklift on the left. Now pay close attention to that forklift operator, because he may be out here committing a crime, but he said, "God damn it, I'm not violating OSHA regulations." Robbery is one thing, but violating OSHA regulations, that's an unforgivable sin, and I will have no part in that, thank you very much. So that gentleman's in the proper forklift attire, complete with even the hard hat, and then he just fires this bitch into turbo drive. He engaged the NOS boosters and just gave a big wallop to the ATM, knocking it off of the pedestal there. And then he begins the second part of this incredible scheme that they've hatched. The truck driver throws that ass in reverse to get in the proper position to receive the ATM, and then the forklift driver comes over here and just skewers it.
Oh my god.
He starts pumping it a little bit, hoping to get the tongs on the actual ATM unit itself and not just the outer casing. It's like an
Wait, how is this an ATM? Nós em Portugal não temos nada disto. Assim no meio da estrada? Não temos na estrada.
And then the orange stuff is the shell, and what he wants to get to is the yolk in the middle. So, with the delicate hands of a surgeon, he gets underneath it and cradles it like a baby. So, mission accomplished so far. He's got the ATM on the forklift, and now it's just the last little piece of the puzzle, and he blows it. Yeah, he blows it. A bit of a fumble there, miscalculation, could have happened to anyone. And as you can see, it's happening to the best of us. Now all of a sudden there's a spectator in the stands. Another car swoops in here, a variable they couldn't have accounted for, and this had to be the most shocking moment of that driver's life. What started as just a normal trip to the ATM ended up with him getting caught in an idiot's sandwich, so he says, "You know what, I'm not hungry, I'm going home." And just when you thought this game was over, sports fans, wait until the fourth quarter, because look at this comeback. A perfect exchange from forklift to truck bed. Dominic Toretto puts pedal to the metal and drives off. No need to fasten or secure the ATM in the truck bed. It's not going to fall off. They're operating off hopes and dreams. And when has that ever not been enough? According to news reports, the ATM fell off a few miles up the road and ended up causing a car accident. So I can only pray that whoever was involved in that accident is okay. Just, who could have seen that coming?
Into the bed of the truck, only for it to fall off in the middle of the street, causing a traffic accident.
Sacramento County.
No one could have accurately predicted that that would happen. Just truly a freak accident somehow, that ATM falling off the truck. But I don't want to just talk about just this one ATM heist, because there's so many that are just as wacky and goofy, so I want to show you a few of them.
Bro, ontem andar a ver coisas sobre todos os GTAs. Handheld. E hoje andar a ver real life GTA Stupid Idiots.
But before
That's
doing
pretty
that,
cool.
I want to show you something that is
I see a
far more
trend.
valuable
There's a trend.
than an ATM machine. It's Godslap. Issue 4 of Godslap, to be precise. It just dropped today. Issue 4 of Godslap is here. This is the standard
Já não
cover,
tem
as well
décadas.
as always, 2 beautiful variant
Milênios.
covers. And the story is really, really getting good, so you don't want to miss it. Godslap issue 4 is available right now at badegg.co. And if you don't want a physical copy of Godslap, there is a digital download as well. So definitely make sure to check that out. It's our comic series we've been working on for a few years now, and we're really starting to get in our stride. We're entering the golden age of Godslap, baby. I know I've already shown this clip before, but since I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, I figured there's no time like the present to once again put it in the top of everyone's mind. This is the infamous excavator ATM heist here. So this is a stolen excavator, and they really gave it a workout. You can see him going fishing here for the ATM, just really digging in there like someone trying to get the last bit of toothpaste out of the tube. Finally gets the ATM in the bucket, and here's his good friends here, the foot ninjas from the Ninja Turtles. That man up front is striking a power stance like actual NPC energy. And then he gets it and just puts it in the open sunroof of the van. And let me tell you, perfect calculations because it fits like a glove. Look at that. Putting the square into the square hole just the way we used to do it when we were kids. Jackpot. Now, it may not have, fit as perfectly as they maybe drew it up in the playbook, which is why they give it a couple of little slaps to try and get it down a bit deeper, but at the end of the day, it was good enough, so they were satisfied with the job well done and drove away.
The footage is shocking. A pickup truck smashes into a grocery store, but this driver isn't done. He goes on the other side and zooms straight through.
When I first saw that clip, I actually laughed out loud very hard, which isn't normal for me from a YouTube video. I just couldn't even wrap my head around the thought process of the driver. Like, he accomplished the goal on the first try here. He got a strike down the bowling alley. He
What the fuck? Hold on.
backed his truck up into the store through the doors the first time. So why did he pull out and do it again just for a bigger fucking explosion? Like, on the other side, it accomplished nothing. He had already done what he set out to do with getting his truck inside. I don't exactly know why he did that. That was absolutely a fuck you. This became personal. It went from an ATM
O homem teve uma desavença com o dono daquele sítio.
robbery to a statement real quick.
Why is this happening? Because crooks are after the ATM machine. They load it in the truck and they're off.
Now, this one doesn't
Jesus
use any
Christ.
fancy schmancy
Ficou tudo desfeito. Wait, hold on. Wait, isto era só Coca-Colas no meio? Refrigerantes? What? Olá, Shiro, estás boa? Estou a chorar, meu. Olha para isto.
stuff, so
Olha para esta tentativa de roubar uma 7-Eleven.
they were satisfied with the job well done and drove away.
Bang!
The footage is shocking. A pickup truck smashes into a grocery store, but this driver isn't done.
Bang!
He goes on the other side
Why?
and zooms straight through.
When I first saw that,
Why? Why? Why 2 times? Mas fizeram tudo. Such fucking assholes.
now this one doesn't use any fancy schmancy machinery here like
Opa, estás boa? Como é que foi o teu dia? Conta-me. Eu trabalhei, e tu?
a forklift or an excavator. Just being men, we're at planning, no need for even a single thought to enter your ATM.
Foi mé? Então. Está muito calor. Coping? Estás um bocadinho down in the dumps. Opa, há dias que é um bocadinho mais para baixo, não é?
Okay. Actual caveman brain. Yeah.
Foste tirar os sisos ontem. Ah, como é que correu? Como é que te sentes? Os 4. Era ontem. Hoje é quinta. Foi na quarta? Foi na quarta. Damn.
idea.
With the use of brute force, brazen ATM thefts are happening all over the country.
This whole video from Inside Edition is mainly a montage of wacky ATM thefts, and you can see that
Estás quadrada? O que quer dizer estar quadrada? Uncomfy? No, that sucks. Mas correu bem, ok, foi o mais tranquilo possível.
they brought out a timeless classic
Demorou pouco tempo e tal.
strategy here with, once again, the forklift, but this one's got a little pizzazz to it. They're hitting us with a razzle-dazzle. So they're doing like a little balancing act where they're just like,
Tua cara é um quadrado. Oh. O que é que seja. Como é que se diz? Anestesia já passou de certeza, não é? Deve ter sido umas 5 horas ou 6. Estás inchada? Oh.
they got a fingernail on the ATM machine with the forklift
E comer? Como é que estás a comer?
tongue. And
Sorry,
it's
eu não,
just
sei eu não sei se queres falar sobre isto. Por mim tanto faz. Por mim, olha,
like kind of balancing it on the way out
eu preocupo-me muito com a minha filhota.
and like holding it back and driving away slowly. It's like something out of the circus.
Só
It's actually
líquidos,
very
pois.
impressive. There's real talent behind the
Uns
wheel of that
bobas.
forklift. This isn't something that anybody could just get up and do. There is a real
Os
passion.
batidos. Os batidos bem. Olha, batidos de morango. Eu já comi batido de morango este ano. Ou na semana passada. Este mês. Hello, Aleph. Estava a pensar em ti. Eu, yay. Enquanto fazia o batido, eu, Shiro, yeah. Eu gosto muito de fazer batidos de morango e banana.
For their work here. And dare I say it, they even seem a bit considerate. They said, you know what, I want the money from the ATM, but I
Hold on, eu estava a prometer lazy reacts. Eu estou tipo. Eu estou acordado. Não está certo. Tenho que dormir, como o Aleph gosta. Depois acorda-me.
don't want to cause too much damage in the process.
Digitalizar.
So
Ai,
I'm just
digitalizar
gonna real
fotos.
tenderly pick it up, balance it, and just get away with it. I don't want to hit any walls or anything. He didn't come in here and just start fucking slapping it around like the last guy in the forklift video we saw from last night. This guy came in here with a real delicate touch. Or at least that's what the video showed. Maybe right after this brief clip, the guy just goes ballistic and starts just like speeding the forklift into everything he can find. Maybe.
In Chicago, a crook wraps a rope around the ATM and gives the signal. A truck then hauls the machine through the front
Oh
door.
my god, what an
His
idiot.
partner.
That one's probably my favorite. Just a beautiful blunder, really. Wraps the cord around the forklift, and then he's like, all right, punch it. And then he just gets absolutely blasted by the ATM. He didn't stop to think for just 1 second how the world works with physics and shit, that by standing at the doorway where the rope was leading out, that the ATM would follow that
Foi assim que tiraste os dentes, Shiro. Alright, podes tirar.
trail. So he just stands right in between a bullet and a target here and takes a hit to the leg from the ATM. It just comes through like a cannonball and annihilates him. His knee
Goodness.
got busted up in a big way. It reminds me of a tweet I read like a month ago where a guy took a bad step at a
Que
baseball
caralho.
game and he like blew out both of his knees. The
Ai, estou a
tweet said,
chorar.
this man just blew his ACL, MCL, DVD, and NBC. And that's how I feel about this clip right here. That ATM absolutely fucked his knee, I think. Now, I don't think it broke his leg because it seems like he was able to like kind
Ele
of
estava a
limp
andar.
away, but that's no
Ele
doubt
ficou-
just all of the adrenaline that kicked in
Hold on.
to, you know, not get caught.
Eu acho que o gajo ficou muito melhor do que o que eu achava que ele ia ficar. Eu pensava que ele ia ficar tipo inconsciente ou whatever, mas não, estava a mancar.
Here. But yeah, I think that clip is by far the best one so far from these ATM heists. So yeah, I just wanted to share a few of these
Não
with you
sei,
since
está
the
tudo
forklift
bem.
one just happened last night, and that's really about it.
Ai. Olha, fazer like e subscribe. Mas isto vai ser funny ou vai ser. Então, é isto? Não tem que encontrar. Deve ser isto.
Program contains coarse
World's Dumbest Criminals.
advised. Ready? All right.
Tem que ser isto. É a tua descrição. Foi o que tu descreveste. The smoking gun presents. Wait, this is not correct. Este apóstrofe.
Let's go. Come on, let's get out of here.
Tonight, 20 criminals with appetites for destruction.
Oh, no.
Experienced felons,
This summer. Well.
fear in the hearts of their victims.
Not without a prescription.
How'd you like a stool sample?
Featuring
Espera que isso é só a
our
intro.
team of celebrity experts imparting legal analysis.
Celebrity.
I would like to refer to the
DMCA.
case of finders versus keepers.
And first-person experiences with the law.
I know nothing.
True TV presents World's Dumbest Criminals. It all starts.
Vai ser a mesma coisa, já estou mesmo a ver.
Join us as we journey.
Bro, é o mesmo canal, é o mesmo gajo a falar. Oh, god damn it.
Now,
Eu disse que ficar exatamente a tua descrição.
Come on, let me out of here.
God damn it.
a Kansas City woman attempts to return her fast food order.
Vou ser banido do
Hello,
YouTube,
can I
não
help
vou.
you? Yo, I need another wrap, because my wrap was cold. You need to give me a new wrap right now. It was not hot, it was cold.
If the is cold, it ain't no good.
Okay, let me go check. Hang on a second.
Por que eles têm celebrities a comentar? Parece, nem parecem celebrities, parecem minor celebrities.
I'm sorry, that was the last wrap. Excuse you, what you say? You ain't got no more wraps?
What you say?
ain't got no more wraps.
Moments later, she returns to lodge a formal complaint.
Oh, hell no! Ma'am. How about this for no wraps? Yeah! Whoa! How you like that? What are you doing?
You treat me like a witch, I'll treat you like a witch. Now melt, bitch.
How about
Oh my
donation for
God.
your
Just
sorry
editing,
ass?
why?
They know who they talking to.
She tearing up that restaurant.
She did overreact quite a bit.
What's this?
Quantas pessoas é que eles vão arranjar para comentar um vídeo tão inofensivo? Boa noite, Vitor, estás boa?
Computer? Ain't no computer no more, is it? No, there you go.
Hey, whoa. Don't kick the computers, okay? All right? It ain't cool.
How about donation for your sorry ass?
This is like the Hulk if he had absolutely no muscle definition.
Oh, hell no!
This is the last time you see my ass in this place, too. You be sorry.
The picky
Tudo por causa de
eater
rap.
storms off after causing $3,000 in damages. Police quickly identify the woman
$3,000?
and go to her home, where they discover her hiding in her bedroom closet.
Damn, you cops is good.
Which is a great hiding spot if you're 5 years old, hiding from imaginary monsters.
How you like that?
She's charged with felony property damage.
When you're willing to inflict bodily harm and property damage for a rap,
There you go.
She's got issues, man.
chances are you have a food addiction.
What's up?
Or chances are these raps are just that damn good.
Diga uma coisa, vocês, em relação à senhora, vocês diriam... Portanto, vamos assumir que ela está... Em termos de ter issues, de 0 a 10 ela tem tipo... Está num 8. Tem problemas. Vocês nessa escala, comparados com ela... Quanto é que você... onde é que vocês acham que estão? Então não partias uma coisa inteira por causa de um, de um rap? You like trains? That's fucked up, Beta. Diria que estás num 9, então.
Yeah, whoa. How you like that?
ATM robberies tend to be crude affairs, often involving heavy chains.
Olha, o Vitag também tem esse problema. Mais alguém tem esse problema?
And a pickup. But these South African bandits think they have a better way.
Hard there, mate. Roger it over there.
Yeah, that's it. Harder, harder, yeah.
All right, man, we're gonna rob this ATM. But how about we ain't got a truck or chains? We've got something better. Weapons-grade explosives.
Hey, get it in there. Make a big hole as you can, yeah?
You heard the man.
O Vita é um problema porque é falta de boundaries.
Make a hole with your pole.
I hate when people don't know how to use the machine. Just press enter. God.
All right, we're gonna stuff, eh?
That's it, yeah.
Now stuff it in there. Stuff it in.
Excuse me, you need an ATM card.
Ready? All right, load it.
Come on, let's go. Run.
Oh, you gonna blow it up? All right. My bad.
Man, esse sketch por cima. I don't know, man.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Eles precisaram daquelas coisas que... Vocês estão a ver aquelas coisas que pões no bolo de aniversário? Que a Bita pôs ontem no bolo dela de aniversário. Parece aquelas coisas que pões espetas em cima. Meteram isso no na ATM machine.
Wait for it.
Guess it was a dud.
Here's why you don't explode
Ah, vamos a falar de ti, Vitor.
an ATM to get money. Because money is made out of paper. And paper is flammable.
Força, vai tomar um duche. Eu também, daqui a bocado. Duchei a minha nova Strata antes de ir para a cama.
But the blast destroys most of the money in the ATMs.
Don't you boys see? You're bombing the very thing you love. Money. Pick it out.
São sempre coisas más. Olha, estes sketches e atores à volta, para mim é um bocadinho a mais. Um bocadinho a mais. De 0 a 10 diria... não sei o que diria, mas é um bocadinho a mais. TikTok, eu tendo a não ver TikToks, não tenho a plataforma e depois demora muito tempo a abrir. Coisas assim.
A man approaches the counter of a drugstore in Palm Bay, Florida.
Posso abrir agora?
Come here. Yeah. This is a robbery? Could you give me all your money?
É na boa, Alex. Lembraste de uma cena...
You just give me the money?
É. Lembraste de uma cena similar, meu? Eu não conhecia isto. Onde é que vocês estão? Estou no X, na plataforma X. Deixa cá ver a mensagem que me enviaste através do X. A primeira mensagem que eu vejo é a Shira dizer que somos homossexuais. I don't know, man. Se calhar no Neotech PT é mais fácil de ver. Ou de encontrar. Como é que eu faço para ver isto? Bruh. Ok. Diagnosticaste-nos. Jesus, quase não consegui dizer. Foi difícil. Rezem por mim, por favor.
Looks like all that money, 1 times 20 change. Yep. Thank you. Take it easy.
Wow, that was one of the calmest robberies I think I've ever seen.
I always thought you needed a gun or a knife to rob a convenience.
Who the fuck are these people? Não precisas pedir desculpa. That's okay. Eu pessoalmente prefiro peixes com pés e pernas. É isso que me faz rir. Mas eu gostei que o peixe não se tivesse a mexer sequer. Estava tipo... still. Olha.
Convenience store, but it turns out you just need a cashier with a peanut
Diga aí uma
allergy.
cena para ver.
Look, whatever you do, just get the peanut breath out of my face. I can't take it anymore.
The masticating bandit spills a few peanuts as he runs out of the store. Cashier calls the
Yo!
police.
Uma coisa que há de juntar coisas que eu gosto com
This
coisas que
video is
vocês
brought to you
gostam.
in part by Factor. More on them in a bit. One of the
Olha,
games
sem
I
querer.
absolutely loved
Eu sem querer estou a ficar grande fã deste canal.
playing on PS2 as a kid was The Sims 2. See, although I knew what The Sims was, I didn't have a computer strong enough to run anything better
Que é
than
nerd stuff sobre jogos. Aquele peixe sou eu a dissociando bem.
Mall Tycoon 3 back then, and even then, only
No.
barely, because my stepdad didn't let 8-year-old me use the family computer out of a fear that I would get kidnapped or become a YouTuber or something. Come to think of it, I don't know how he knew what a YouTuber was when YouTube itself didn't exist yet, but he's dead now, and I think he'd be proud of me. I miss you. So consider my surprise when years later I picked up one of the Sims games on its original PC home.
Mas o que é Purple Randy? Vocês têm que me dizer o que é. Depois não vou curtir a onda, pois não. Fuck. Histórias complexas na vossa própria cabeça. Yeah, é quando finalmente estás sozinho com os teus pensamentos.
Hello there, what's your name?
My name is Kyle.
Kyle, how are you, Kyle?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's fantastic. That's so great, Kyle. That's the response we want. If anyone didn't hear that, he said he's fantastic. What did you do to...
Caramba, Aleph. Chill, my man. You can go slower, my man. Este gajo está a andar na cidade a 120, pá.
Today, Kyle, how did you feel your Saturday?
Well, I took CPR training.
You took CPR training?
Yes, online.
Fantastic. All right, well, this is not online.
Sorry, estava a ver o chat, não ouvi o que ele estava a dizer.
How reliable is an online CPR course? Are you certain?
Eu, por acaso, Vitor, fizeste-me lembrar com essa frase do nunca assumi que tivesses capacidade intelectual para criar cenários hipotéticos na tua cabeça. Eu estava a falar com uma amiga e ela é totalmente incapaz. E o que eu senti foi mesmo uma profunda pena. E depois estava a ver debates e há muita gente, eu não sei se é de propósito ou se é sem querer, mas há muita gente que também não é capaz de criar cenários hipotéticos na cabeça. Parece que é uma epidemia. Eu considero uma epidemia. Um problema super gigante alastrado pelo mundo inteiro.
Right now?
Por que será?
Did you just watch a YouTube video? Are you sitting right at the very
Não, eu acho que não tem a ver com a fantasia.
front? Yes. Oh, you better test this shit out. This is not very sturdy, so watch your compressions, but come on up. Come on up, you come. Perform CPR on me, Kyle.
Pois, eu acho que não está relacionado com a fantasia at all. Acho que é uma coisa que nos distingue, não é? Seres humanos de cães ou whatever. Digo eu. Mas pronto.
Everybody, yeah, fuck it. Am I sure? I'm not doing this for nothing. Get the fuck up.
Mas os bichinhos conseguem criar cenários na cabeça.
Just don't fall over.
Só não tão complexos como os nossos, digo eu.
Yeah, come on, come. Maybe if you go on that side, just down like here-ish. All right, now.
Epá, dor e trauma não deixam criar novos cenários. Isso parece-me unrelated. Eu sou capaz de imaginar cenários. Parece-me unrelated.
It's gonna be better if you're over here.
Posso estar errado. That's debunk a DID. Dissociative Identity. Whatever.
Come around here.
Indeed, I am. Oh, Vitor, estás sempre a gozar comigo que eu rio-me das minhas próprias piadas. E então? E tu? Good one. Dissociação não é o mesmo que DID. Opa, yeah.
So you go over here. Here. Stagecraft, Kyle, you got this.
Yeah. Não tens montes de artistas incríveis, todos completamente traumatizados.
Alright. You gotta do all the stuff before and shit. You gotta check if I'm responsive and all that sort of stuff.
My man Kanye West. Eu não sei se é trauma. Maybe. What the fuck am I looking at? What is this? Bita, what the fuck? Eu também. Bora dissociar juntos, Shiro. E dizer, Vita? What the fuck? Teve um ataque? I can't. I don't know what is this? I want to look at Sims stuff.
Find out just how different
Sims' weird console story modes. Vocês jogaram algum Sims nas consolas? Eu nunca joguei Sims nas consolas, só no pai o Sims 2 no PC.
early console counterparts, where the Sims 3 and 4's console
Sims
releases are
náufragos.
pretty much just straight ports. Even calling the PS2 era games ports would feel like a disservice because these were completely different
Todos os dias, Vitor.
games designed from the ground up with a console experience in mind. Most notably, they had their own guided source.
Sims é um jogo perfeito para tentar responder à pergunta: o que é que estou aqui a fazer, afinal? Ou então o contrário. O jogo perfeito para questionar ainda mais.
Story Mode, a lengthy and handcrafted, almost role-playing game if you wanted to see what an RPG would look like if it was made by somebody who hated RPGs, that would take you through several pre-built houses with their own roommates, problems, and goals for you to achieve before moving on to the next one. Between 2003
É chato esta, como é que eu ia dizer? Este curse de termos noção de que existimos e que um dia não vamos existir mais. I don't know.
In 2007, 6 console Sims titles were released, one every 11 months on average. These are The Sims, obviously.
Mas acho que nós depois somos capazes de. O que é fixe é que nós conseguimos não pensar nisso durante a maior parte do tempo, por isso está-se bem. Acho que é só quando estamos sozinhos em casa. I don't know. No quarto escuro.
Exclusive games The Sims Bustin' Out and eeerr's Sims in the City, The Sims 2, The Sims 2 Pets, which, yes, was a completely different release based on the PC game's Pets expansion, and
Estás a ver, o Sims é um jogo super útil.
finally, The Sims 2 Castaway, another fully separate release based on the PC game's, well, Castaway expansion, except on console, this was turned into a completely different game, more of a survival game than a traditional Sims.
Assim não precisas de criar cenários na tua cabeça, tens um jogo para fazer isso por ti, já viste? Wait. Mas nós deveríamos cultivar a imaginação, digo eu.
Now, most of these Sims titles had handheld releases too, on GBA, DS, and even the N-Gage for some reason, and these two were completely different games from even the console ones, making the rabbit hole even deeper. My buddy Mini-Me covered the GBA Sims games a few years back, so I'll link his video at the end if you want to sink further into madness when you're done here. First, let's look at the weird and fascinating world of the Sims games on console, the behind-the-scenes stories of development hell and cancellations that led to any of these games even happening in the first place, and the story modes that made these versions of The Sims so unique.
Conseguimos passar da introdução,
for a console
pessoal.
version of The Sims took place pretty much immediately after the first game launched in February 2000, with publisher Electronic Arts wanting to capitalize as quickly as possible, as they're known to do. However, for a few months, discussions took place as to whether to make a simple port that would have to be scaled back due to hardware limitations, or to design from the ground up a new, catered experience for console players.
Now that's what's
The kind
interesting
of
to me.
unique spin-off franchise that could even incentivize double-dip purchases from some buyers. The idea of having a spin-off series of The Sims, which itself was obviously a spin-off of SimCity, was pretty appealing to EA, so by autumn of that year, a game titled The eeerrs had begun production at Studio Maxis for the PlayStation 2 and Dreamcast. Well, kind of. See, the Sims machine was already barreling forward at fast pace, having become the best-selling PC game of the year 2000, with the game's first expansion, Live and Large, already on pace to be the second best-selling PC release of that same year, despite only having released a month prior to the eeerrs starting production. The team working on this console spin-off was apparently pretty understaffed, and that only continued as the new Sims expansions would continue to take precedence. In March 2001, the second Sims PC expansion was released, alongside the reveal of a game called Simsville, which would attempt to cross over the worlds of The Sims and SimCity by giving you an entire neighborhood of Sims to, well, lightly control. The reception to Simsville was not very kind, as it turns out giving Sims even more autonomy to ignore what you want them to do isn't very fun. In a pretty big blow to this still
Algum de vocês jogou esta coisa?
series, Simsville was cancelled in September 2001, only 6 months after its initial reveal. Some of the Simsville staff was moved over to SimCity 4, others were moved on to producing more Sims expansions, and ideally at a faster and faster rate, and while Simsville's ideas and legacy did end up influencing the future of both franchises, in the short term it meant that the eeerrs completely stopped production to focus on more profitable ventures. This halt in production came immediately after production had just begun on the Xbox and GameCube versions of it, so the eeerrs sat in limbo as we entered 2002, and EA was starting to get antsy at the lack of money entering its gullet. In February of that year, the publisher contracted an outside developer named Edge of
Excelente. Ei, disseste o mesmo que eu estava a pensar, Olive. Excelente cope.
Reality to develop a different console port of The Sims, and they gave them 11 months to do it. In early January 2000,
Estás a precisar da máscara, Vitag, aquela com... Copium.
the PlayStation 2 version of The
Ou
Sims
seja, abraço
hit store
nosso.
shelves,
Queres abraço
with
nosso?
GameCube and Xbox versions
Eu dou.
releasing a couple months later, and obviously the Dreamcast version was cancelled since the Dreamcast was, well, Now, before we talk about the story mode of this game, things get a little weirder. After seeing this console Sims game's early performance and being impressed and liking the money entering its gullet, EA turned back around and re-kickstarted development on the eeerrs, while also taking Edge of Reality's Sims console engine and putting together a second Sim console team at Maxis to develop a direct sequel to The Sims, and do so in only 6 months' time. Yeah, rather than contracting this sequel out to a capable developer that had just proven itself with the first game, EA
Jesus. That's... Jesus, Shiro.
further splintered the already understaffed Maxis so that they were
O
working...
que é que se passa hoje? É o calor? Estamos todos passados os cornos. E se também se calhar estás com dores, não é?
on 2 different console Sims games at the same time, alongside The Sims 2 for PC, several Sims 1 expansions, SimCity 4,
Exato.
the Sims Online MMO...
Pessoal, toda a gente a levantar os braços para Shiro. Qual é que é o emoji? Há um emoji? É este, não é? Goes great with this one. Wait, quero o Negro. Negro version. Nem que deram os dentes de volta. Podiam dar para fazeres um colar.
and also Spore.
Para que será que eles usam
The
os
Sims
dentes?
Bustin' Out somehow achieved its 6-month development turnaround, releasing in December 2003, only 11 months after The Sims PS2, and only 9 months after the Xbox and GameCube versions of that first game. With this second console Sims game now on store shelves, and apparently doing a good job of flying off of those shelves, the Bustin' Out team split up and moved either to help finish up the eeerrs, or to begin production work on
Não
the
sei se é isso que eles
eeerrs 2,
fazem.
even though the eeerrs wouldn't yet release for another year. Now this part
Fonte
is
de
apropos
cálcio.
of nothing, but I need to share it anyway to show you that EA as a company has always been the way that it is today. By the time
Olha lá! Agora vamos andar aqui com I don't know, o Presto Olympics ou caraças.
the eeerrs released in November 2004, 4 deluxe editions of The Sims 1 had released on PC, those being The Sims Deluxe Edition, The Sims Double Deluxe, The Sims Mega Deluxe, and The Sims Triple Deluxe. Wait, in other words, the eeerrs, the first console Sims game, ended up releasing third.
O Vitago é o main character da sua história, meu.
And despite being intended to be a highly merchandisable spin-off franchise, it ended up coming off as the black sheep in its own series thanks to its 2 younger but now older brother games outshining it. Even a weird Black Eyed Peas tie-in couldn't save this game. After selling about half of its expected 5 million sales goal, the eeerrs was dropped after release, never to be acknowledged again outside of making fun of it in The Sims 2, where your sim can...
What the hell is happening today? Ao calor, é o calor, não é? Como é que está a temperatura aí em Gaia? Deve estar para aí 35 graus ou caraças. O que é que te meteram na água, meu?
Find it as buried treasure, and then angrily stomp on it. The Sims 2's console version, by the way, is the very same project that the cancelled eeerrs 2 apparently morphed into, developed by much of the same team. Does your brain hurt yet? Mine does. Okay, with the messy history of these games out of the way,
No bitches.
at least for now, let's go back to that first Sims PS2 game, the only one developed by an outside studio. While at its most core level, it's very clearly taken a great amount of inspiration or just assets from the PC game, the 3 most noteworthy changes here are a much smaller build limit to hold to the memory limitations of the consoles, some quirky little 2-player minigames, and the get-a-life pseudo-story mode. Instead of just giving you a plot of land and saying, go nuts, the game starts up by straight up telling you to get a life. That's the only mode you have upon starting up the game. So
Whoops.
let's create our sim. I'm gonna name him Dave. Dave Kazuma. Yeah. It's at this point, while trying to customize Dave, that I learned that the PS2 Sims games don't really play well with the stable public builds of the PS2 emulators that are out there, because the Sims customization and or the intro movies after customization always crash the game. So Dave's dead, like my stepdad. I miss you, Dave. I had to fiddle with some
What
different
the hell?
emulators.
Vou tentar estar atento ao vídeo. What is he saying? What is anybody saying today? What is this? Xoxo. Nunca pensei ver o Aleph escrever xoxo.
Settings to troubleshoot, so Dave's brothers Jeremy and Ivo Kazuma also met the same gruesome fate before I just gave up and downloaded the much less stable test builds of PCSX2, where the issues have already been sorted out, so I guess they're not less stable after all. I still didn't risk customizing my sim just to be safe, so the fourth Kazuma brother named Kenny with an I
E
looks
olhem aí,
exactly
tá
the
bem,
same as the
pronto.
first three. If you're wondering why
Tem que dar uma mija, pá.
I wouldn't just go with actual hardware after running into a bunch of crashes like this, it's because The Sims 2 wasn't the only PS2 Sims game I played when I was a kid. I rented this one a couple times and
Vocês alguma vez receberam um chi coração? Vou deixar esta pergunta no ar enquanto eu vou beber água e fazer xixi. Entra por aqui e sai por aqui por baixo. Volto já. Neither crying and screaming and fighting stream when. Peace stream. Olha, dá tag à Bita, porque ela queria ver isso.
I still have it seared in my brain how disgustingly slow everything is. Most of my footage throughout this video is me playing at 2 to 3
Sono porque não consigo dormir à noite. Quer dizer, consigo, mas depois acordo demasiado cedo, man.
times speed, and I'm not talking
Tenho que tomar
the game's
drogas, ou
2 times
caralho.
speed where you can just hold down a button and speed it up as well. For my own sanity's sake, I cut my playtime in half or more wherever possible by letting the emulator run at double or triple speed, on top of holding down the speed up button at pretty much all times. In every game after this one, it's not nearly as bad.
Hã? Vela? Acho que acabaste de ter um aneurisma.
But this one, oh boy, it takes 2 in-game hours to level up your skills by reading. That's 2 full minutes of just sitting there doing the very first thing that you absolutely must do in this game immediately, or else your character is almost guaranteed to be soft-locked forever. The game's story opens up with Kenny
Soft-locked forever doesn't...
with
Whatever.
an Kazuma
Whatever.
being woken up from a pleasant
Whatever.
dream by his mom, who's pissed off that Kenny sleeps on the couch until noon every single day. Hey, that's probably pretty fair.
Eu acho que... Oh, Vitor, eu acho que é melhor ir ao médico, tipo, já?
While this first home is meant to be a breezy, I don't know, 15-minute tutorial level, give or take, it's actually the worst nightmare that Kenny with an I will ever experience.
Chama 112,
See,
man.
in order to move
Urgências.
on to the second of this game's 6 total levels in the Get a Life mode, Kenny has to complete all of this house's missions, which include things like borrowing 800 simoleons from mom, making food without starting a fire, fixing the TV, getting a job, and if you
Estás a ter AVC, meu?
you take more than 3 days to do all of these basic tasks, Kenny then also has to get the bills out of the mailbox and pay them as well. Completing
That's
each
some
task
serious
unlocks
shit.
some sort of reward for either the 2-player modes or just more furniture that you can purchase to add to your homes in this Get a Life mode or your free play save files. The problem with this first level is that Kenny with an Eye's mom is the absolute worst roommate I have ever seen in my life. I'm not talking just in games, I'm talking ever. She makes a habit out of grabbing a bag of food out of the fridge, eating 3 bites, and then throwing it on the floor before grabbing another bag
Lembra-me para nunca viver com alguém, meu. Fogo.
of the same food out of the same fridge. She doesn't flush, she doesn't take out the trash, or I guess really put in the trash. She doesn't work, and she only ever complains about how the house is a mess, and it's all Kenny with an Eye's fault because he refuses to clean or cook.
This can't be real.
Even though he does in fact clean and try to cook. If that wasn't bad enough, she essentially doesn't ever sleep, and since this is an open concept house, that means that it's impossible for Kenny with an Eye to get any sleep at all because she'll always be watching TV and waking him up no matter what. That is, if you fix the TV already, which
This is
the
hell.
first mission she outright tells Kenny to do when the TV breaks mere moments after Kenny first wakes up. This, folks, this right here is a trap. You would think that The Sims PS2 is, I don't know, a good video game where it teaches you mechanics in a healthy, organic fashion. If you go to fix the TV immediately, it sort of does teach you things, as you'll get electrocuted and your mom will give you the hint to read a book first to level up your mechanical skills. But if you choose to grab
This game is a
book right away
nightmare.
and study mechanics so that you can fix this TV, you've already set yourself on the pathway to inescapable depression. Like with every version of The Sims, here on PS2 you've got a series of ever-fluctuating motive stats covering your hunger, hygiene, energy, social, comfort, bladder, fun, and all of the cleanliness, size, and openness of the room that you're in. Keeping all of these stats in balance is the key to any good sim life. If you eat, you'll probably need to empty your bladder soon, and if you don't, you'll probably soil yourself and need to bathe yourself to get your hygiene back, etc. And if too many of these stats are closer to half empty, or worse, just completely in the red, you'll see your sim's overall mood begin to change. Right above Kenny's head, you can see that he starts this game with 2 little ticks in the green. That's good, that's healthy, or at least as healthy as one can be living in a house where they don't actually have a bed that they don't share with their mom. So, you know, by the time
Yikes.
that you
What?
spent 2 in-game hours reading to get to mechanic level 2, the first level in which you're able to quickly fix that television without getting occasionally electrocuted, Kenny's already down to 1 green. And by quickly, I mean it takes him another hour and a half to fix that TV. If your sim's overall motive level ever dips into that red side, they'll end up depressed, too depressed to study. In this particular version of The Sims, the balancing act between all of the different motives is just a mess, and it takes an insanely long time to get any one motive back to green, by which point 2 or more others have started to dip down. Oh, you're tired and want to rest in a bed for a bit to get your comfort up too?
Is this one of those troll games?
Kill 2 birds,
Come
1
on.
stone? That's a good idea. Too bad mom's watching
Is this Dark Souls 2?
TV so you can't sleep. Now you're tired, grumpy, and hungry, so you eat, only you can't cook yet because you haven't started cooking because you're depressed. So you'll either set the house on fire by trying to cook, or you have to eat 7 snacks in a row and throw them away, and by throw them away I mean throw them on the floor only to pick them up and put them in the trash, take out the trash, then also throw your mom's floor food away because otherwise your room stat will tank and you'll never be able to keep yourself out of depression, then take out the trash again and order a pizza only for the game to be so slow to respond that your sim doesn't answer the door in time, so the pizza guy takes your food and money and leaves with the pizza. If you don't go
This looks like a great game.
out of your way to study cooking up to level 2 immediately before doing anything else, your character is permanently screwed because you will always end up too depressed to cook without setting things on fire. See, if Kenny was smart, he would have skipped the time, hassle, and in his case fire hazards of cooking, and he would have gotten the fast, tasty, chef-prepared meals at factor75.com.
Come on. Come on now.
Using the code TGB50 at checkout to get 50% off his first Factor box. But Kenny's a fictional character, and you're not, so you can reap the deals that he's missing out on. Look, not all of our cooking skills are going to be as strong as our Sims, and that's okay. Factor takes the guesswork out of grocery shopping and meal prep, having to go to different stores or change your plans because half the stuff you want is out of stock or too expensive because birds are expensive right now, all that fun stuff. Why go through all of that when Factor's got meals that are fresh, never frozen, that are quick and easy to heat up in as little as 2 minutes? I know for me, some weeks I have more time than others to do my own meal prep, but I try to avoid eating out where I can, and during the busier weeks, I've really
Olha,
enjoyed
quando é que vais
changing
começar a
my
mandar
order
vir
size
a
up to
comida?
plan ahead for when I know I'll be in my little editing hole like I am right now. Or if I'm away from home for a week, I can just as easily skip a box without a hassle. Plus, also, just gotta say, their smoothies, ooh, bomb. Factor just makes it easy to sort out a bunch of your meal plans every week with a couple dozen rotating recipes, and even better, Factor's now partnered up with HelloFresh, another former sponsor around these parts, so the array of meals that you can pick from is even wider since you can get either or both brands at a
Wow!
discount. So if you want to save time and money and get some tasty
Guys, you
food
want to
out of
save
it,
time
head
and
to
money?
Factor75.com or click the link down below and use the code TGB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring the video, and now, let's get back to it. In essence, if you try to complete the first 3 missions of the Sims tutorial in the order they're given to you, you're doomed to fail if you don't know any better because it's frankly impossible to live with Kenny's mom without her ruining his mental health. It takes a while mingling with her to get her to give him the $800. What the game tells you on the pause screen is the first main goal of the level, and if you do this one first, you're already screwed because you've wasted that valuable buffer time that the game gives you before your Sim's emotions start to fall apart. If you focus on the television first, you'll level up your mechanical skill by reading, only to be electrocuted again at level 1, making you think that you should just keep reading to get to level 2. It's just a mess, and after trying to balance the tightrope that was Kenny's emotional health for a good hour plus, I realized that he was a lost cause, that I had failed him. So, like any reasonable person, I killed him and replaced him with his brother Leonard Kazuma. The first order of business was to remind myself that this is a Sims game and use the proper Sims strategies, namely, locking Leonard's mom in a doorless room for as long as possible while Leonard learned to cook and fix things. It still took a bit longer than I'd like, especially since this game rewards you with a bonus piece of furniture if you finish each level in the story mode in under a certain amount of time. In this case, it was 24 hours, and boy, poor Kenny, he spent a lot more than 24 hours there. But once the ball was rolling, I had Leonard pick up the very first job that came up in the job search, so our boys joined in the army. Honestly, at this point, the game just becomes a slightly less annoying monotonous grind, but it's still very much a monotonous grind. The second house has you living on your own, which gives you ample time to bump up as many skills as possible for your career path before moving on, and your career path is usually 1 or 2 of the required missions to move on from here on out, so using houses 2 and 3 to your advantage is definitely the play. Managing your character's motive levels is so much easier once you're out of the tutorial, though. It's one of the most interesting tutorial difficulty spikes that I can recall, honestly. All you deal with in House 2 is fixing up the place and cleaning it up a bit, while the landlord's son Dudley shows up every now and then just to insult you for being poor. It's kind of weird. Then you move in with him and start throwing parties to make more friends so that you can find a better roommate than Dudley and never talk to Dudley
Can I
again,
not
probably.
wall run?
And the last 3 houses after that task you
I
with
can.
finding a
Wait,
romantic
what the fuck?
partner, having kids, sending those kids to boarding school immediately, and spending 20 grand to buy a yacht. Remember when yachts were only 20 grand? I don't either. I'll be totally honest here, I stopped partway into House 3 because I knew the rest of the grind really wasn't going to be worth it, especially knowing what we're in store for with the next game. It's cool seeing the little bits of gameplay evolution. Like once you move in with Dudley, for example, you can start controlling him to some extent. He won't clean or anything, but you can have him use the grill so that Leonard never has to waste time cooking, and Dudley will at least also pay the bills for you. But the trade-off is that Dudley is so lazy that you have to make sure he goes into work, because if he gets fired for missing work twice in a row, it's just like if you got fired, game over. Outside of the pure absurdity of the opening minutes, I don't recommend putting your time into trying the Sims 1 story here, especially since its sequel, Bustin' Out, may as well be a remake of this game. It's the same sort of tutorial, where you wake up from a dream in your mom's house and work your way through the different houses by way of life goals. Several characters even return, but mercifully, Maxis sped up the snail pace that Edge of Reality had implemented in the first game. Maybe that's a little symbolic since they made this game on such a rapid, crunched 6-month schedule. Bustin' Out also has a more dedicated story focus rather than literally just getting a life. Here, the landlord from the previous game, Malcolm Landgrab, is the game's main villain rather than just being your usual, acceptable landlord levels of villainy. So your goal throughout the game is to get revenge on him for stealing a bunch of stuff from each of your houses by making enough money over time that you can buy his mansion from him and evict him. And that's exactly what Mahomes Kazuma is gonna do. Yes, I named him Mahomes. Why, you may be asking? Because I blew my load pretty early with all of the dead Kazuma sim names, and I started throwing darts at the board here. The Sims Bustin' Out makes so many super neat little improvements, both at the surface level and subcutaneously. The kind of things that won't change the core experience, but that will add up to make this a night and day difference from The Sims 1. I mean, for one, you can turn off free will, which also may be symbolism. But beyond that or the super fast skill level ups, it lets you revisit your old houses more easily, go back and forth between them to do different challenges at different times, depending on what you want to do, or you can just visit some neighbors in general by way of this masked loading screen where you drive from neighborhood to neighborhood. Some challenges will task you with going between neighbors' houses and yours to find a stolen item, or to flip Dudley off because Dudley's back too, and this time around you don't need to complete every single mission in each and every house before moving on. In the same breath, when you do finish up missions, there are a ton more item rewards, or just more substantial cash payouts. Even better is that this game does a great organic job of teaching you how the whole, building thing works. The items that Malcolm Landgrab steals from you are the items that you usually need for one of that property's missions, so it forces you to keep looking at where different items are in the shop and getting you to experiment more with what people would usually consider the more fun part of the Sims, rather than just teaching you how the actual Sims themselves function. Really, the only thing that makes this game a bit of a grind at times is your usual Sims grind, or your usual grind in life, maybe, having to make friends. Since this was still a bit earlier in the series, it was sort of a crapshoot making friends in The Sims because you only have a few ways to dictate the conversation, although you do learn others as time goes on, like gossiping, which, surprisingly, pretty much always works. Well, that's not really that surprising, but you know. Like with most Sims games, you'll need to have an increasing cast of friends to continue getting promotions at work, but that's pretty easy to do here since you can get your job-relevant stats maxed out with the snap of your fingers, more or less. Where sitting down to study a book before would take you minutes upon minutes of real life time to get one individual level, here you can get from level 1 to 5 in the span of that same time, just about. But I forgot about the friend requirement since I hadn't really played The Sims in like 10 years. So even though the console games have the number of friends you need to get each promotion lowered, it did take a bit of grinding for Mahomes to get popular enough to move through his showbiz career. He got stuck somewhere between game show host and sex symbol. With a voice like that, fair.
It's like my Uncle Kagi once said, with great power comes great big booty bitch.
Anyway, for a game put together in only a few months, not only is it impressive on its own, but then for it to be a game put together by a different team learning the original studio's work on the fly, and for it to be not only a playable game, which the first one couldn't really say at times, but such an improvement that it became a good game at that, I mean, hats off. It made me excited to see what they would have in store the following year with a full year of production on the eeerrs.
Oh no.
And then I played the eeerrs, and it's kind of just a worse busting out in every single way. Like it's fascinating how this game turned out, considering that this was technically the Sims console game that started it all. I'm guessing at some point the idea morphed from a Sims apartment-styled game into, well, this, because there were already a couple Sims games out now ahead of this one, thanks to the development hell, and this one needed something unique to stand out, or something. I'm not really sure, but that would be my guess. The game opens up with a Sim entering what's supposed to be Sim City, traveling through the city by way of subways and exploring the nightlife, only to be bullied by this Pokemon trainer-looking ass and denied entry into a club because her dance moves aren't on point. At which point, the actual Black Eyed Peas show up and help her show off her now more on-point dance moves. The same move that she did before, but she stuck the landing this time, so now she can enter the club.
Ow.
And then after that, when the game actually starts, will.i.am introduces you to his friend Darius, and then will.i.am is pretty much never seen again. Great.
What?
Darius sets you up with an apartment and teaches you the rules of this new city. Although apartment might be a bit generous, he doesn't even give you a toilet. He just gives you a shower, a sofa, and a refrigerator. And that's it. It's fine. You don't really use that apartment anyway unless you're trying to complete the mission to furnish it more to unlock a pet dog, who you then leave at the apartment anyway while you play the rest of the game. And you pretty much never go back there, so it's probably better that you don't have the dog, I'm not gonna lie to you. I will say one cool thing about this game is that it lets you create 4 Sims for the story mode. I'm guessing because this is the only real mode in this game, and this way you could have different siblings playing on the same file. The next couple Sims games moved away from this back into the whole one save per memory card thing, which is really kind of disappointing. Now, that said, at first I thought I had to create 4 Sims for my playthrough, so I named my first Sim Lamborghini Kazuma, thinking that she would have siblings named Mercy, Yo Chick, and Thirsty. It's okay though, because my game crashed and then corrupted Lamborghini's file, so Mercy Kazuma took over anyway. What the eeerrs does is sort of an evolution of that Simsville idea,
guys, I'm
and
focusing.
not too far removed on paper from what Bustin' Out aimed to do, with having multiple little houses in an extended sort of neighborhood. Here, there are 9 different districts of the city, and as you unlock each one, you'll find that you have a really dingy bungalow sort of apartment so that you don't have to travel back and forth between your main home and the districts and watch the game load a ton just to go to sleep. Every district has its own Sims and its own style. There's a rooftop party area, a biker chop shop, a bustling city center, a dingy subway housing complex thing full of Sims rocking the punk aesthetic, and it also has a fight club, which I guess is cool. Every area has its own very clear flavor, is what I'm saying. What's more, you can pick whichever area you want as your starting turf, and from there you'll unlock the rest one by one. The goal in the eeerrs is to build up your reputation across each of these areas by befriending all of the Sims, working at each of the unique jobs that each different area has, gaining entry into the super selective club that each area also has, and eventually bullying a bunch of nerds that come in to try and ruin the parties. Let me go back a bit. As you complete each of the small task-style missions in each area of the city, not too dissimilar to the goals in Bustin' Out or The Sims 1, you'll build up your reputation, and local Sims will start teaching you new social moves to better communicate with others. The whole name of the game here is socializing to build that reputation, so that you can unlock new parts of the city to further build that reputation. And everything outside of socializing has been scaled back and simplified to its absolute most basic level. The game cuts down on the amount of motives that your Sim has, instead only having the 5 most important ones: sleep, hunger, hygiene, bladder, and fun, and I guess technically you could say the social meter is still there, but it's now moved into a new reputation meter. If you don't constantly socialize with other Sims, your reputation will start decreasing at kind of an alarmingly fast rate. All of these needs, on top of being cut down to just these 5/6,
That sounds
are
relatable.
filled up so much more quickly than even Bustin' Out allowed, and that makes them feel less consequential and makes us feel a bit less like a Sims game. The game's also rife with product placement, from Verizon billboards to drinking Red Bulls to refill your energy meter pretty much instantly, meaning that why would you ever sleep, because you can just drink a Red Bull. You should consume Red Bull, is what this game is telling you. There really aren't that many of your usual Sims-type motifs past the very surface level. You don't really spend much time furnishing your apartments, since you're only really going to have to be in each area for maybe a half hour or so, unless you're going for 100% for some reason.
What the hell are these enemy
simplified
hordes?
down to 3 job stats: artistic, physical, and mental, each of which can only be leveled up with one specific item.
They leveled
Instead
up.
of there being 10 levels per job, there are now only 3, because you're going to be doing all of the jobs to beat the game, and I will say one neat, at least on paper, thing about these jobs is that this time around they're an active gameplay element instead of your Sim simply disappearing for 8
Jesus!
hours. Some of these jobs include being a
Ribbidi-babbidi-boo.
sushi chef, running a biker chop shop / sausage griller. They run a promotion that gives free sausages to their customers. Honestly, really good business model. Or wrestling and selling ferrets to the same 5 Sims over and over again out of what has to be an illegal rooftop operation. Now, when I say they're an active gameplay element, that's the whole on-paper thing. It's not really neat in practice, because they pretty much all have no meat beyond mashing the square, X, and circle buttons in a specific order. Even better, this may have been an emulation issue, I'll admit, but there was a bit of weird input delay that happened on only some of these, so while there's no penalty for messing up, it kind of makes an already bland process just a tad frustrating too. Higher levels of each job add some sort of wrinkles into the mix. For the ferret salesman, for example, you need to mingle in between bagging up your ferrets once you get to level 2, so that the customers like you more and will thus buy more ferrets. While you're actively working a job, it sort of becomes its own meta motive, where you've got to fill the meter all the way to green to get paid, and it'll fluctuate between green and red depending on how well you're producing the product in question, while juggling your other stats. Gotta keep your energy up while fighting these ferrets, for example, or you've got to wash your hands a bunch to keep your hygiene up while you're doing piercings. Since socializing with the Sims is the main gameplay loop here, you would hope that it would be engaging. It's not engaging at all. As you complete each area's missions for befriending that area's Sims, each of those said Sims will give you new skills like rapping to give you new ways of building rapport with other Sims. However, there's less of an on-screen indicator now of how close you are to actually befriending anybody, so you just kind of keep clicking on whatever conversation action is marked as green and then wait to see when the mission says it's complete. Once you've gained enough reputation, Darius will tell you that you've unlocked access to that area's club, but before you can enter, you've got to look the part. Since each area has its own clear vibe, it's also got its own clear bit of clickiness. If you're on the rooftops, you've got to be dressed like what a bunch of white people think rappers dressed like 20 years ago. If you're in the subway level, you've got to get a nose or really absurdly large nipple piercing and dress like what a stereotypical punk rocker would look like. It sort of makes everything else in the game feel superficial. Like, not that you're forging these deep bonds with any of these characters or anything, you're just making them watch you spit in your own mouth 5 times in a row. But it feels like since your only goal in this game is to build reputation, that you're just making your sim fake all of these different personas to fit in with each crew. Some folks won't engage with you at all if you're not wearing the outfit that they deem as cool. If you're dressed differently, you can't get into the club. It's weirdly gatekeepy. If I wanted to work my way through a bunch of weird, superficial clicks to get to the end of a game, I would play Bully, or I'd watch the Warriors, or I'd play sports.
Big booty bitch.
Anyway, once you've dressed the part, you can enter each of these clubs, assuming there's not just somebody standing there on the other side of the door, unwilling to move, so you both just get stuck in a loop where you're both standing confused for a good minute, unable to get out of the way so that one of you can enter the goddamn door. This happened several times to me. One time during one of my Sims jobs, which is just great since I could have been fired all because Becky here decided she wanted to get stuck right at my workstation. Once you get into the different clubs, Darius will usually show up around this point to give you that neighborhood's super special power social move. This is the move you'll need to bully away those villainous nerds trying to ruin each party. Do that in all 9 districts, and you'll get the keys to Darius's penthouse, where you get to prove that you're the coolest person in all of SimCity. At that point, Darius just, he kind of flies away, and the game functionally ends with you owning his penthouse suite, which, like the apartment he gave you at the start of the game, is also just completely empty. I feel like if you weren't already given a tiny, pre-furnished, essentially closet in each area of the town, and instead if you had more room to decorate or whatever, the game would find a way to feel more Simsy. But since you really only have the starter apartment and this endgame apartment to decorate, and since by the time that you're here you've already done most of everything, it kind of feels a little hollow. Which, I suppose, is fitting, since this game is all about making hollow connections to a bunch of different characters. Why would they give you any sort of substantial Sims gameplay? It's easier to just take out most of the furniture that you could buy. Hell, cut down on the money that you usually make to begin with even, and just focus all your time on the super engaging gameplay of selecting which way you want to talk to each person so that you can watch the same handful of animations over and over again. Even the little plumb bob cursor is weirdly sticky in this game and harder to navigate in either of the prior 2 games. It's just not a fun game to control or play. If I'm being totally honest, and I'm not trying to be super mean here, I'm not all that sure what anybody involved with this game's production expected out of the eeerrs. There's nothing here that has the makings of a hit game, let alone the start of a spin-off's spin-off. I'm super curious whether this game changed so drastically throughout its production because those other Sims games came to console first, or if this was always the idea. I know that there are a lot of people that have a soft spot for the eeerrs. Let's be real, most of them at this point because of the stupid and incredible Simlish versions of Black Eyed Peas songs, and I guess I can see some sort of kids market for this game where more traditional Sims gameplay maybe wouldn't have clicked with that same audience. That last part's a lie, actually. I don't buy that in a world where the first 2 console Sims games easily outsold this one. I think that this is simply a dud of a game that somehow made its way onto shelves, perhaps due to sunk cost, and simply hoping the Black Eyed Peas could somehow lift this one up. The one positive of the eeerrs as it released is that, like I mentioned earlier, as soon as this game fizzled its way to launch, the eeerrs 2 turned into a console version of the Sims 2.
I got stick bugged.
I was a little worried coming into this video that I'd be disappointed playing this one again, the one that inspired this whole video process from me. That my memory of this weird console version would end up being a little too rosy. And given the game runs like total trash, but that's just like I remembered actually. Otherwise, I still adore this version of The Sims 2. At its core, it's just a more polished bustin' out, featuring many of the innovations that the main version of The Sims 2 brought to the table, including things like wants and fears for your Sims. These are randomized sorts of goals that your sim wants to achieve, whether it's get a promotion at work, or have X amount of money in the bank, or do a cool surfboard trick. The sorts of things that harmonize extremely well with the rest of the 45,000 stats and sliders that you have to watch over on your stupid semi-autonomous Tamagotchi. And these wants and fears are both based on your character's life aspiration. You can choose whether your sim bases their life off of their love life, their popularity, their constant thirst for more knowledge, or, in the case of my sim, Joryu Jazuma, making a lot of money through shrewd business skills. Because Joryu here was focused on the money, his biggest fears were things like being robbed. These wants and fears will earn you or take away aspiration points, and as you gain aspiration points, you'll start unlocking new stuff that you can buy for your houses. Since this game easily has the most items and furniture of any of the games I'm talking about today, the aspiration points and the constant drip feed of little achievable goals is such a great way of gating and unlocking everything. I felt motivated to do as many of the little tasks as I could for each character, rather than them just going through the usual Sims motions of working, eating, sleeping, crying, etc., and grinding at stat level ups in between. After 3 games in a row without the want/fears mechanic, I completely forgot it was a thing, and as soon as I saw it again, I remembered how crucial it can be to keep these games engaging, at least for me. And to keep things flowing nicely, these desires can shift over time depending on if you leave them unfulfilled for too long, or if your Sim sleeps for a long time and wakes up with a new short-term goal in mind. And in the case of The Sims 2's story mode, the topmost of these wants will always be tied to your progression through the different houses, essentially using this new feature to replace the sometimes tacked-on feeling goals from the first 3 stories. These gold or platinum level wants are fairly static and tend to be a way of getting you accustomed to each property while forwarding your Sim's career path. As you progress through the story, you'll move into a beach house, a bed and breakfast that needs a lot of repair, a crashed alien spaceship, the usual, and sometimes your character's want will be tied to helping the other roommates achieve their own wants. Or conversely, in some cases, Joryu decides that a roommate looked at him funny and decides that he needs to make an enemy and an example out of said roommate. Great. But the neatest thing to me about this console version of The Sims 2 is also probably the least Simsy thing about this. With this game and the subsequent 2 Sims 2 spin-offs we'll be talking about in a bit, you can take direct control of your Sim using the analog sticks and run around rather than selecting specific actions with the little plumb bob cursor. Now you can also swap over to this traditional style as a way of queuing up multiple actions more efficiently, but I always enjoyed this personal touch even if it meant that I wasn't doing things in as optimized a way as I maybe could have. While you're in this direct analog control mode, your Sim's free will is completely turned off, and you functionally are just playing the role of your Sim. That can be a little frustrating in this one since this game is not nearly as optimized as Bustin' Out somehow. A good 40% of the time when you start an action up, like, say, lifting weights because Joryu suddenly wants to get buff, your Sim will just freeze in place even though time is still passing. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things because I think the act of balancing all of your different motives is easily at its most balanced and fulfilling in this game compared to any of the others we're going to be talking about today, but there's just that inherent bit of annoyance that you'll always get without fail when something hitches up like this. It's like back in the day when Internet Explorer would freeze up all the time. Now, as you might be able to tell based on me not talking about the story at all,
what the hell is Internet
this is the first Sims game that actually calls it a story mode, this has the least amount of story to it, really. I misremembered there being a ton more here, but I think that's because back in the day, I did what you're supposed to do with The Sims and made my own little stories up between the different characters. Each new property does have a little bit of basic exposition at the start of the level, where you're taught the conflict that Joryu here is going to try to solve. It might be fixing up that bed and breakfast so that it's what the owner always dreamed it could be. Or maybe it's getting the alien's neighbor to accept that he's living next to aliens instead of trying to fight them. They're all smaller micro stories, barely really stories at all, but the same little bits of care went into having each property tell part of that story contextually. With the bed and breakfast, you'll have to fix up the broken stove, invest in new furniture to make it look nicer, etc. It's far less driven than become a millionaire to evict your mean landlord, but it really allows you to go through and experience all of what this console version of The Sims 2 has to offer. There's even a game-wide progression tracker to show you how many items you've
there's no
unlocked,
saving.
or how many of the job paths you've completed, or how many skills you've maxed out. There are secret bonus properties if you fulfill certain criteria in some levels. What I'm saying is, even as often as this game hitches up, and even knowing that the modern PC versions of any of the Sims games are going to be a better Sims game by any real objective measurement, I think that there's just some level of unique charm that makes this a game worth revisiting. This and Bustin' Out are really the only 2 that I would say that for, not to spoil the last part of the video here. And even if it does make for a worse gameplay experience in the traditional Sims sense, I would really love to see this direct analog control make a return in a future game, or as a mod or something. Hell, it might exist for all I know. I've never been a huge fan of these life sim sorts of games enough to go in and create my own little perfect house or create a bunch of sims and just let them loose and do whatever. So having that ability to get a little more involved and to have that pre-built story path to give you a fun, lengthy showcase of everything each game had to offer, I know I'm the odd one out here, but that's the stuff that I ended up really liking The Sims for, only to find out much later that, oops, that's not really a thing outside of this specific PS2, GameCube, Xbox era. Damn. I will say it sucks that in Sims 2 your free play mode and story mode are locked to one single save file, so you would have needed multiple memory cards if you wanted to do multiple things, which also, now that I think about it, defeats the purpose of that progression tracker. Huh. Oh, also, since EA caught the bug of including Simlish versions of actual songs, there's a Simlish Paramore song in this game. It's not related, but you'll hear it playing frequently in the tutorial area, and it's kind of fun. Now, I'm gonna brush quickly past the console version of The Sims 2 Pets because this was at the time the closest a console sim game came to just being the PC game.
I can walk over. Oh.
There's no story mode here whatsoever. You just pick a pre-built house and family, or make your own house on an empty lot and get some pets for your Sims to play with. It's just that. That's the game. I figured there'd be some sort of light story mode, or maybe even just Sims 2 story mode, but now with pets in the areas, but it's just a blank canvas type of game. You can control your Sims directly with the analog stick still, which is nice, but everything else that made the console versions of these games unique is just missing in this one, and this game ends up feeling a bit, sanitized or even soulless in comparison. I named my town Comercinco. That's all I got on this one. Since there's not really a story to talk about, we'll move right on to what I feel has to be the weirdest Sims game, at least of the ones that I've ever played. The Sims 2 Castaway is, like I mentioned earlier, a console game loosely based on a different Sims Castaway experience called The Sims Castaway Stories, which itself was the final of a trilogy of Sims Stories spin-off games. Or, I guess more accurately, these games were developed in tandem because the console game actually came out first this time. This game is a survival game, taking a crew of player-created Sims and crashing them onto a string of deserted islands. You can have up to 6 people in your crew, and these are the only people that you're going to encounter during the entire game. Well, besides monkeys that you can befriend. And corpses. I didn't know that there wouldn't be any other survivors by the time that I started, and I was kind of tired of making up different Kazuma names, so I had to make do with only the 2 people I randomized in this randomization selector. We have Clunk Kazuma and Dr. Kazuma. Her first name is Doctor, and she is also a doctor. Now, when I say survival game, I'm talking like hacking down bamboo, grabbing banana tree leaves, foraging for berries, slowly building up enough resources to build a rudimentary shelter, and a gradual progression of material types until you can build better and better shelters. The goal in Castaway is to explore each of these 3, technically 4, islands, eventually either building a ship to escape the islands, or putting together a homemade radio to signal an SOS. Along the way, your Sims can find different books that have been left behind, presumably by the corpses, that add new quests or subquests to your adventure. It is so strange to see a Sims game with this catered an experience. The islands, at least from when I tried starting a new run, were consistent each time. They were handcrafted with little secrets, hieroglyphs, remnants of a lost tribe, all this sort of environmental storytelling. As you travel between different parts of the islands, your clothes can get shredded by bramble on the pathways, and traveling between each different loading area actually passes up to several hours of in-game time. You can then make your own island clothing from different resources. There are a number of little huts that you can put together. You can set your Sims to do specific jobs every day, like catching fish for the group or foraging, and all of this actually kinda matters. Like with every Sims game, your characters can die, and there's a special potion in this case that can bring them back, but if all of your Sims die, your game ends and you have to start over or reload an earlier save. As unique as it is, though, this game is not very fun. Slowly building up resources and having to stop every 5 minutes because your Sim got hungry or needs a nap is just frustrating, and although there are so many unique elements here, like being able to trap chickens or spear fish for food, or get your pet monkey named 3, I named him 3, to forage for you, it's not what I would call good. The inventory management is clunky to say the least. Some items you craft at a workbench, others you craft out on the open, but then you have to manually build it after you've already set it down to craft it. But wait, don't forget, you need a little nap. When it comes time to craft a raft to go between different islands, you can only do so at this weird ancient altar thing, and even crafting any one thing to begin with is going to take you a long time foraging and watching your Sims slowly cut stuff down. thank God for emulation speed up, because this game's only behind the first one in terms of tediousness. There's not really as much emphasis on your Sims socializing because, well, you might only have one Sim alone, either by choice or because you accidentally killed and maybe ate them. I don't know that you can eat them, but I'm going to assume you can. And your motives fluctuate pretty wildly in my experience, since it expends so much energy and food doing even the simplest of tasks. It takes this game a good couple hours to get going because it's all just so slow. If any Sims console game could have used the split-screen gameplay that the first couple had, it is this one. Being able to split up and forage with your friends could have been super neat, but then, in the same breath, I fully understand that this game barely runs decently as it is, and having two people in different parts of the game would have been impossible. Still, even being...
Alright, o que é que este gajo vai dizer? Este é o pai dela? Liston. Uau, isto é muito intenso. Isto é uma igreja. Um save. That shit was intense. Pessoal, o que é que significa o com estar a dormir no puff?
Being able to forage on the same screen and cut down on the monotony would have gone a good way. From what I can tell, the two Castaway games aren't really related at all outside of the name and some asset reuse, so I'm kind of just left wondering why this idea got greenlit, not in a bad way, just out of curiosity's sake. The answer is probably just that they could flip the assets into a quick console game rather than put all of that effort into just the PC story's release, but when I found this one during my early research, I thought maybe it would be like Survivor-themed or something to capitalize on that show's constant ratings supremacy during the mid-2000s. And honestly, imagining Sims arguing and trying to vote one another off a deserted island, that is a great idea.
True.
I would say I feel
that is true. Vocês já beberam água hoje?
Like I haven't scratched the surface of this game, even after putting a good bit of time into it, but then I know I was most of the way through the game because there are only 3 main islands and a 4th secret one that you unlock by solving a puzzle inside a volcano. Again, it's weird just to see that this game exists at all. This game has so many assets, animations, and concepts that, as far as I recall, have never been seen before or since in this series across all 7 trillion expansions. And yet it results in a game that's only really a few hours long, but feels much, much longer. It's not the most satisfying game to end on compared to me gushing about how The Sims 2 held up pretty solidly against my nostalgia, or the wild story about how the first 4 of these 6 games owe their lives to the herbs in some way, but this one's definitely the most unique of the bunch. And that's kind of saying a lot, actually, because outside of Pets, all of these games have something unique to them. And I mean, Pets has the Pets thing, but unique to the console version. I mean, the first 3 are essentially console exclusive. Hopefully this little romp through one of the quirkier eras of an already quirky series was as fun for you as it was for me. It'll never happen, but I would love to see this era of more catered and honestly wackier Sims experiences return. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way, or let me know why I'm stupid or something, I don't care. As always, until next time, stay golden.
Olá, Raul, muito boa noite. John Lennon. Como é que estamos? Tem andado a jogar a Zelda nos momentos. A bicha a levantar a orelha. Nos momentos em que preciso pensar, tipo, o que é que vou fazer para implementar ou como é que vou melhorar qualquer coisa. Tem andado em otimizações ultimamente, foda-se. No dia 2. Depois foi tipo, não quero ser produtivo, entre aspas. Entre aspas. Não quero produzir, quero otimizar. Tenho andado a jogar um Zelda antigo. Devo dizer, pretty cool. Tinha saudades desse jogo, já tinha jogado. Estava a pensar se agora jogava um bocadinho. Qual Zelda? Eu mostro-te. Tenho é que mudar este setup todo e levantar-me. Mas estou com vontade. Espera aí. Estou a mostrar a mim próprio. Como é que esta coisa está? Cap card. Exatamente. Exatamente. Mal feito. Isto está mal feito. O texto aqui. A minha fronha. Epá, não apetece muito mexer a fronha. Ser honesto. Põe assim. Aqueles são os meus calções. E pois é! Oh fuck. Oh shit. Oh shit, oh fuck. Vou mostrar a pila. Oh yeah, pila time. Isto funciona aqui? Nunca testei. Como é que tens andado mesmo? Estás de férias? Tens trabalhado? Conta-me coisas enquanto eu ligo o jogo. Trabalho, trabalho, trabalho e trabalho. Olha, devo dizer, mano, que estou muito contente que aquele Pokémon Trading Card Game esteja ali. Quando eras chabalinho e adorava. Provavelmente se fosse hoje testava, não é? Toquei uma música. Está muito alto? Vou pensar como é que faço. Deve ser porque é tudo chiptune e o caralho. Deixa-me baixar a Capture Card então. Dirias que está melhor ou tenho que baixar mais? Ou não fez diferença? Ficou igual? Isto tem opções de som? Não. Então peraí. E agora, chavalo? E agora, meu puto? Parece bem. Tem sido por chill, género de estar só às vezes é de género, não sei bem como é que vou fazer isto. Eu fico. A hora do almoço também. Meia horinha. Esses são super maguinis. Eu acho que não é para aqui. É melhor bazar. Eles fodem uma boca, meu. Super jambronis. Eu não faço a mínima para onde é que é a seguir. Acho que fiz uma dungeon e agora estou tipo. I don't know. Fuck, eu preciso de outro item. Hey, hold on. Pode ser este. Jambronis. Hold on, não pode ser para aqui. Antes estava ali um canguru, diz-me tu. Quantos pelos tens tu? É impossível ter vindo dali. É impossível ter vindo daqui. No máximo vindo aqui desta ponte. E é isso, meu. Às vezes, jogo isto e é cool. Gotcha. Eu cheiro-me que tenho que ir para ali depois de ter ido ao templo. Este jogo chama-se The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. Era o que eu gostava mais da Game Boy. Epá, sabes uma coisa? Eu não sei onde é que anda Miau. Acho que me deram uma panela ou caralho. Neste jogo não dá para... Deixa ver. Dá! Oh shit! E podes equipar? Eu ia dizer que não dá para ver qual é o item especial. Geralmente tens nestes jogos, não sei se alguma vez jogaste ou se quando jogaste reparaste, tens uma ongoing quest em que vais trocando items. E eu não estava a ver como é que via o meu item atual, mas Start e depois Select permite com que... coisa e tal. Vou falar com a eeerr. A ver se a eeerr diz alguma coisa. Got no cuckoo bird. Alguém quer uma panela aqui? Yo, queres uma panela? Não quero uma panela. Ok. Bem, neste momento eu já tenho duas. Shit. Já tenho controle sobre duas seasons diferentes. Estou quase a ser um oráculo. espetáculo. Eu acho que não tenho mais anéis. Fui apraisado. Deixa eu ver o que é que a puta da árvore diz. Mountain north of Sunken City. Wait! Vou fazer load game. Acabei de me lembrar. O que é que eu fiz a última vez. Foi encontrei uma cidade. Não, encontrei isto, é que não me lembrava. Opa, é fodido. Um gajo trabalha e... a memória vai à vida. Foi aqui que eu vim dar. Eu costumo fazer save no jogo e save no... e save state. E até agora tem correspondido sempre, mas desta vez não. Master Diver. Cuidado quando vocês dizem que são master qualquer coisa. Dirias que um pescador é um masturbator? Tenho que encontrar a diving gear do gajo. Pergunto-me se é para estar aqui primeiro ou se é para ir... ou se é para estar no templo. Às tantas não é para estar aqui de todo. Deixa passar. A última coisa que eu recebi foi o Rock's Feather, e com o Rock's Feather já posso explorar um bocadinho mais do Temple of Seasons, não sei se é assim que se chama. Oh shit, Skeleport? Yo, Skeleport. Ok. E eu puto, tem bué de spots, estás a ver? Vai dar às árvores. Shit. Oh não! E gastou, não gastou? Se calhar vou sair daqui, não é? Oh man! It's a monster! Ei, não batam no monstro. O monstro precisa de amigos. I am Dimitri. You can't swim. I can even swim up waterfalls. You help me, I help you. I jump when you press A. And I swim like a fish, even up waterfalls. You can also carry me using the pure bracelet. Eu diria que é cool. Ganda Dimitri. Não. I even swim up waterfalls. Try it. Can I jump? No. Ok, aquilo é o templo. Calma. Uau. É aqui que vou encontrar o Aqua Balele. I am the master diver. To become my pupil, go to the next cave and open all 4 eyes in a single stroke. Bring back proof. Jesus. Fuck you, master diver. Ups. Este D-pad não vale um caralho, by the way. Mas o comando é super comfy. É. Master's Plaque. Comfy, mas... Yeah, é comfy. Olha, é comfy desde que não estejas a tentar usar o analógico. Wait, o que é que eu disse? Desde que não estejas a tentar usar o D-pad. Sério. Isso geralmente acontece com estes comandos. Estes comandos tortos. Com os analógicos tortos. Neste caso é o da Switch. Mas o da Xbox é igual, não é? Flippers! Got him! Hole among the reef in town. Use the flippers I gave you. Man, I'm flipping. Parabéns. Parabéns, Shinji. This game's pretty alright. Agora posso entrar naquela casa. Beep, 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 beep. With the seasons out of order, the mountain snows melted, suddenly flooding town. I can't even leave the house. It's terrible. It's terrible. I could change the seasons. O segredo vai estar ali, não vai? Isto não tem aqui... O que será que é para fazer ali? Ahá! Ahá, lovers. Gotcha, bitch. Oh man, what the fuck? Oh, eu consigo voltar a... Oh man, that's fucky wucky. I can scaleport though. Oh. I knew we'd like you. Agora tenho que arranjar maneira de ir até aquela casa. Sorry, dungeon. Deixa eu mexer aqui o meu pau. Ice, ice baby. Dun, 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 dun. Isto é uma casa? Ingo? What do I need? What the fuck? Tem que ser verão, pá. Oh, não dá para chamar o Dimitri. Oh shit. Como é que é? Anda aqui. Anda aqui, cadela. Será que ela vem aqui? Anda aqui. Ei, anda. Anda. Zelda. Foi difícil, mas veio. Isto é uma dungeon? Não, é só uma bruxa. Well, that sucks for you. Então eu tenho que ir ao monte? Estou a olhar para isto com calma e estou a pensar que não há mais sítios para ir, né? Desculpa, não há mais nada para fazer aqui, acho eu. Quer dizer, tem aqui. Como sempre menti. No shield. Even if you have a key, you still need a keyhole. Relatable. Será que posso subir? Um cucu! Um cucu! Spring banana tree up there. Oh, I need the spring? I need the spring to be real? Tá na hora de voltar ao templo então, certo? Se calhar dá para voltar por ali. Oh shit, acho que sim. Vocês estão tão hyped como eu? Templo. Biri biri bip 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 bip. Olha, fui roubado. What's that? It's so weird. I'll trade you this or it. Thanks. Oh no. No jumpies for me. Oh no. It's one of those hide and seek. I hope they don't surround me. Estou a pensar no poder da Game Boy e eu cá estava a ver aquela flor a mexer enquanto eles também se mexiam. That's crazy, man. Oh god. Am I getting my feather back? Now return the R? No. It's mine. Do-do-do-do-do. Wait a minute. Is this a puzzle? What do you mean that means? Bell? Wait, what? What did he do? Puzzle? Whoa. Morri. Nice. Pretty cool. Spring. It's gotta be spring. Yeah, rock hard. did it. Oh yeah, springtime. Bro, of course it can. Come here. Shikatanai. Oh, olá Maria, estás boa? Estou aqui a jogar um joguinho que eu gosto muito chamado Zelda. É o Zelda. Estou a dizer o nome do jogo muitas vezes a ver se confunde a bicha. Foi-se embora. I need that mushroom. How do I get the mushroom? Acho que tem que cair ali, yeah. Muitos mistérios. Como é que foi o teu dia? O que é que andaste a fazer? Ah. Caminhada ao supermercado. Olha, espero que tenhas comprado coisas boas. Massajador de rosto. Um dildo? Oh, I ain't got the key. Mas como é que a tua mãe sabe? Also, se tivesse a usar um vibrador, o que é que ela ia fazer? XD? Isto não é caído ali? Como é que é? Oh. How do I get to the key? Aqui está ela. Ai, dá-me tudo. Um desses há de funcionar. É assim, eu não posso chamar o bro? Não foi mal até. Estava só tu aqui à tua espera para falar contigo um bocado. Eu acho que são aqueles super fortes gajos. Os leonéis. É um Goron. Living alone is nice, but it can be lonely. Damn. Deep. Oh man. Ultra estúpido, tenho uma ventoinha ligada, virada para o outro lado. Jesus Christ. Já virei a ventoinha para o sítio certo. E tu tens uma ventoinha? Got him. Não precisas. Ninguém merece este calor. Eu estava aí? Já esta piada? Foi uma boa piada. 10 out of 10. Ai, meu que expulso. É a música, esta música de Goran é a mesma que usaram no Ocarina of Time. He hates the cold. Bigoron. Achoo! Vamos experimentar isto. I got nothing. Hey! Anda aqui. Aqui. Mas o que é que vem ser isto? Yo! Shh, don't tell. I'm rich, bitch. Machei. Sabes qual é o problema deste calor? Se é que ainda estás aí. É que depois uma pessoa não consegue pensar. Eu gostava de ter uma conversa contigo, mas não consigo. Também já está na hora do Vitinho. Viturso. Ih, que puta! Vontade de chorar isso é o ano todo. Yay! Now he wants to do stuff. O que é que achas deste bichinho? É exatamente um bichinho que tu irias gostar. É tipo um urso azul. Nem precisa mais nada, não é? Se lhe des bananas, ele ajuda-te. Qual foi o caminho que eu fiz ao bocado? Estás no telemóvel. Ah. Tem que ser Snow? Muito soninho indeed. Esse jogo mantém-me acordado, que eu gosto muito dele. O que não é bom, manter-me acordado. Não é? Você tem que se deixar dormir quando tiver sono. Oh man. Ah, spring. I need the spring. Neste contexto? Acho que em qualquer contexto. A pior coisa acho que uma pessoa se pode fazer é forçar-se a estar acordada, nem que seja sem querer. Hoje em dia é fácil com o telemóvel. Ficas acordado mais para aí 4 horas do que estarias numa situação normal. Vai ser a cena de substituir, é o item. Às 10 desligas o router. Meu Deus. Fizeste-me lembrar a história que a Margarida me estava a contar. Ela queria ir morar para um quarto, mas a senhora desliga o router às 11 da noite. E não é que eu seja muito neto, mas não gosto de regras. Ou que a mulher seja rígida. Ora aí está, meus amigos. Uma donjon coming right up. Uma masmorra. Beautiful. Acho que a hora perfeita, o momento perfeito para dar o Basalini. Esta música é cool. Dorme bem, tu também. Desligar aqui a televisão. Ai que eu vou ter que... Espera aí. Será que hoje tomo banho, mais um banhinho de água fria? Ora digam-me lá. Banhinho banholas. Ainda não se viram livros de mim. Calma lá. Não, mas vão. Olha, está de noite, olha, vês? Portem-se mal. Chupando-nos.